или пак да си застанам тој кјош? Добра. Кај си, маче? Добре си. Ке ги почекам, да не висам. Да, да. Да. Добре.
distinguished representatives of the media, allow me to apologize for coming late to the press conference. We had an extensive meeting between the President of the Government, Mickoski, and the President of the European Council, Mr. Costa. On this occasion, I would like to invite both of them to address us and then to continue with the questions in the already agreed form. Distinguished President of the European Council, Mr. Costa, please.
First of all, thank you very much, dear Prime Minister, dear Christian, for the warm reception in the North Macedonia and for this very, extensive but very constructive talk. My strong belief is that the enlargement is a common goal we share and is the best geostrategic investment in peace, security and stability that we all can make. I commend the excellent work made by North Macedonia and your governments on the reform agenda and the progress already achieved. We need to use this opportunity to conclude strategic investments as the Corridor 8 and Corridor 10. And during our meeting, I reiterate that North Macedonia's future is in the European Union. We have made a lot of progress already, and we discuss the remaining steps that need to be taken to complete the process, and I encourage the Prime Minister to pursue his efforts to unlock further progress. Dear Christian, you can count on us, the European Union. We stand on you, ready to help seize this momentum. It is now crucial to press ahead with reforms and invest in the rule of law and the fighting against corruption. And also, I would also like to acknowledge your alignment with our common foreign and security policy and your support of Ukraine. I trust that your future engagements also at international fora will reflect our shared values. And the security and defense partnership we agreed last year is a prime example of how North Macedonia and the European Union are already coming closer, concretely increasing collaboration in key areas such as support Ukraine, countering hybrid threats and counter-terrorism. North Macedonia has done a lot of work. You need to stay the course. The accession process is more a marathon than a sprint. It is demanding. It can be frustrating at times, like it has been for all previous candidates. But all of them achieved, and certainly we will achieve. But with your determination, hard work, and cooperation, we will make it all the way bypassing hurdles. Thank you very much.
Благодарам председателя, господин.
Thank you, Mr. Costa. Now, Prime Minister. Distinguished President of the European Council, Mr. Costa. Distinguished representatives of the media. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Today, Skopje is a host of a very important meeting. The presence of the President of the European Council, Mr. Costa, does not only confirm our deep diplomatic cooperation, but it is a real act of attention. It is a support and interest for the future of our country and for the whole Western Balkans to be part very soon of the European Union. In this new phase, when the citizens have given us the responsibility to a new Macedonian government, my obligation as a Prime Minister is to speak openly, sincerely, and with dignity. I am doing this first and foremost because I have an obligation to the people, but also to the European idea that we insist on realizing. Our commitment in the process of Euro integrations will remain and will be reinforced in the forthcoming period, because we believe that the future of the Macedonian citizens is within the frames of the European family. President Costa, in his speech, said that the road to full-fledged membership in the European Union is frustrating, difficult, and challenging. But we, as citizens, as people, can say that maybe we are walking the most difficult path. Yes, it is a fact that it has been a path that has been walked by other nations who are now part of the European family, but the citizens of this, one of the smallest country in the very heart of the Balkans and Europe, have walked and have been walking the most difficult path. And I'm not sure if we can say that we are walking it, because we are in the same place where we have been 20 years ago. I hope that in the forthcoming period, we will jointly deblock this process with dignity, because one of the essential European values is exactly dignity. And we should be dignified members of the European family. I am convinced that we have values, capacities, and knowledge, and we know how to walk this path in the fastest way, and with the assistance that President Costa is providing himself, the support and the assistance we have from the European Commission and from the member states, I'm sure that we will make quality reforms, and that these reforms will enable European future for our country and for our citizens. We are at your disposal for questions.
For both of you, I'll start with President Costa. Mr. Costa, government in Skopje here is insisting from EU side on some sort, I would say, guarantees that issues that consider the identity and the history of the ethnic Macedonians will not affect or will not determine EU accession process of the country. Are there any guarantees or such in place, or some kind of mechanisms that can give those guarantees? And as a whole, how do you see, let's say, and where do you see the way out or the way forward for the country in EU terms? За вас, премиере, би сакала да ве прашам, веќе дека имам можноста.
And for you, Prime Minister, you have been saying for a longer time that you do not have an interlocutor in Bulgaria because there was a technical government. But so far, there has been only a meeting between ministers with regards to EU questions. Why do you not ask for a meeting with the Bulgarian Prime Minister, where you would explain or maybe even convince the Bulgarian Prime Minister in your arguments? Thank you.
Well, this process took too much time. And now it's time to deliver. And for deliver, we need to work at the same time in two parallel dimensions. One is with concrete results for North Macedonia and citizens from North Macedonia. Is why the reform agenda is so important, the growth plan is so important, and to concretize investments like the Corridor 8 or modernize the Corridor 10 can give concrete results to your country and for your citizens. At the same time, we need to overcome this process of accession. And for this, it's necessary to make some reforms, but it's also to overcome this, to deliver on what was agreed in 2022. And I know how difficult it is. I commend always North Macedonia from their huge effort about what the country have already done in the past to obtain to move forward in this accession process, and now it's time to conclude with the next steps. And Prime Minister Mickoski knows that he can count on me, he can count on the European Union to facilitate that we turn the page and we can move forward. It's the reason because I visited Bulgaria 2 weeks ago, and when we ask what kind of guarantees we have, it's clear. What is agreed is agreed. We have nothing more to agree. And now we need to deliver what we have agreed, and there are no more room to ask, nothing more to agree.
Thank you for the question. Mr. Costa conveyed the view of the European Union. The proposal in 2022 signed and accepted by the previous government of SDSM and DUI. So the assembly was suspended because we need 2/3 majority in the assembly, and you know how this agreement was accepted. Our view is clear and principled. We cannot accept this without seeing goodwill and delivery from the neighboring party. We cannot amend the constitution for numerous times without having clear delivery on Bulgarian part. No one has a problem in our country as to put Croats, Montenegrins, Slovenians in the preamble of the constitutions because we have a principled relation with those countries, even Portuguese, Spanish. We are not a country that has a problem with the people. But yes, in this case, we have a problem and we want to resolve it. And this is a two-way street. If one party delivers continuously and the other does nothing, then there is no point. But if both parties deliver and it is clear what the second party should deliver, then we can sit down and find some common ground and to agree. That is the second part of the question. Please be patient. I will give that answer too. I expect that this will be a two-way street, if possible. We have done a lot as a country in the name of European integrations, in the name of European future. We changed flags, we changed our name, the constitution, as no one so far. Yes, the path is frustrating and very difficult, but to us, it is exceptionally difficult, and it has not even started. We are still where we have been 20 years ago. And when it comes to talks with our eastern neighbor, I will remind you, the president had several meetings on the level of presidents with her counterparts. So no, it is not only the meeting on ministerial level, and I am ready, and I express this readiness to President Costa to come to Brussels in his presence, in the presence of President von der Leyen, in anyone's presence, to sit down and to talk as much as we need so that we can reach a common solution and for both parties to deliver. Integration means values, and values mean consensus and a two-way street. This is a question about the assembly and the vote of constitution amendments, because we do not have a delivery there, and I would be naive to believe that if there is no delivery on the other part, then that we should do it. As long as I'm Prime Minister, I will never do that.
A question for you. High Representative Kallas said that you have Plan B for accession of Ukraine because Hungary is against that. Do you have a Plan B for Macedonia to bypass the bilateral demands from Bulgaria?
We should not undermine the Plan A, and we need to focus on delivering the Plan A. as what I said. We know what are the Copenhagen criteria. We know what are the previous decisions from the European Council. We know what was agreed in 2022. We must deliver on this. And I understand perfectly when the Prime Minister said, we have changed already our flag, the name of our country. We changed already once the Constitution. And now it's necessary to be ensured that nobody comes to ask us more things that it was previously agreed. And I fully agree with him. What is agreed is agreed. Now we need to deliver on this point. We don't need plan B. We just need to deliver on plan A, as is our focus, is my focus, for sure is the focus of Prime Minister Mickoski, and certainly should be the focus of the other 27 member states of the European Union.
Tamara Garncharovska, Tilma TV. Question for the Prime Minister. The message was quite clear by the President of European Council that what is agreed is agreed. Plan A should be delivered. Will now, 1 year later, after all messages from Brussels, are you giving up from the postponed activity of the implementation of the constitutional amendments? And as the President announced yesterday, we will seek for creative interpretation of the negotiation framework. And one question beyond the topic, but related to Macedonia, you can answer with yes or no. Is Macedonia one of the 20 countries for which USA agreed for 5% increase of the defense budget? When it comes to the first question, our view is clear and unchanged, and the message conveyed by President Costa is a message that we have been hearing for a long time, and I presume we will continue to listen it for a long time if there is no progress in the process. I will reiterate, then and now, I'm having the same view that Euro integration process should be based on values and not bilateral issues. Unfortunately, the previous government accepted a bilateral issue to be part of our European future. I cannot accept this, and I will never accept it, and I will fight as much as I can and as long as I can to find a way to get out of this process in which we are now. I cannot come out in front of the Macedonian citizens and tell them that constitution will be amended and to forget that at least 14 decisions were made by Strasbourg, and Bulgaria does not want to implement them. I cannot agree on amending the constitution if I know that one member of the European Union is still questioning my mother Macedonian tongue and my Macedonian identity. When we will have a clear position from the European Union and from all member states regarding the Macedonian identity, language, and the true will to be part of the European family, but also respecting the European Court of Human Rights, then I'm ready to sit down and discuss everything. But we need to show that we will walk this path together. Has anyone ever asked the question why the Macedonian citizens are not opposing for part of the Croatian community to be part of our constitution, or the Montenegrins, or the Slovenians? No one has a problem with that, or the Portuguese, or the Spanish. And why do they have an issue with this? That is the problem. Resolving problems is to identify problems. And if we stick to formalities, then we will never resolve the problems. When it comes to the obligations towards the NATO alliance, Macedonia, I will remind you, is among the NATO member states who have a budget that is greater compared to the maximum, and that is 2%. We have more than 2.5%, and in the forthcoming years, with the projects that we will have regarding the modernization of the army and infrastructural projects, these spendings will be bigger. No, the condition is not to accept 5%. The condition is totally different. The point is 2 should be the floor and not the ceiling. This is the message coming from the biggest NATO member state. And we are beyond this 2% for a long time. Unfortunately, there are many member states of NATO below these 2%. Thank you. We are ending now the press conference. Thank you, Prime Minister. Thank you, President of the European Council. And thanks to the media for your patience.